Hey, Tom, what's the best veggie on a veggie dip platter?
Ooh, okay, so ranch in the middle or blue cheese. Where are you going with? I'm just trying to get in the right mindset here.
I'm a blue cheese guy.
Okay.
I mean, I think if you're doing it, you're doing it.
Okay, blue cheese. I'm going to go controversial take here, broccoli.
The answer is generally, whether it's ranch, blue cheese, hummus, whatever, it's celery. You want something that tastes like nothing. And that's what you get with celery. You get a water stick.
It's a vessel.
It is a vessel for yummy, creamy goodness. This is Pack Your Knives. I'm Kevin Arnovitz.
And I'm Tom Haberstroh.
Tom, we have episode 309. That is the 9th episode of the 3rd season of The Bear that we are reviewing it, which means that we are now in the final, kind of on the final turn of the season. A season, that's been a little polarizing among fans. There are a lot of explanations. But this, I think, is something that, to the extent that we've had complaints or had frustrations, and some of those are actually kind of backhanded compliments. It is, I think both of us, I think, are very interested in the fortunes of the Bear, the restaurant. We are interested in the dynamics between these central characters and the brain trust of the Bear, which is essentially, you're talking about Carmy, we're talking about Sydney. This is an episode that does return us to the main venue and the main characters.
And yet, I am still super frustrated, Kevin. After this episode, I have come to the decision that this season could have been done in one episode. One episode. We have, in 9 episodes, 5 plot points or 5 developments this season. And I don't know if I have been even further or more invested in the idea that this was, hey, we got season 4. Oh, wait, we got 2 seasons that we got to write. Okay. Or I should say, we have season 3, and then they got signed on for season 4, and they basically stretched a season ahead of what is now going to be season 4. Because really what we've got are 5 main plot points, Kevin. We got the review. The review is coming in, and that's been generating a lot of the momentum in this series and the anxiety and the, a lot of the minor developments have come out of this review, right? There's been the Sydney job offer. The big one, which we'll talk about extensively later, is Uncle Jimmy Cicero is broke. That's a big development. And we kind of got that in this episode, breaking news that he's broke. And the 4th thing, Nat had her baby. And 5th, I don't even know if you can qualify this one as a 5th, but they opened up a sandwich part with Ibra. And that's another piece that is new this year. Other than that, we've got no development with Richie, no development with Carmy. It's the same old, same old. Marcus, Tina, I feel like we're kind of just stalled out on all the characters with the exception. Am I missing a major plot point? Because I kind of feel like this episode was almost a metaphor for the entire season. As we get almost to something happening, every character in this episode seems like they're about to say something or about to, move the conversation forward and say the thing that they've been waiting to say. And yet it drags on, and we're here at the season finale. And I feel like 5 plot points could have been summarized in one episode.
Yeah, I mean, I think I probably didn't dislike it as much as you have. And it might have been because I think between last week and this week, in other words, kind of after watching 8, knowing that we only have 2 left, I think I've sort of recalibrated my expectations for the season. Like, I have now accepted that season 3 of The Bear is basically Fables of the Reconstruction.
Yeah.
Right? This is REM's 3rd album. And I think it was Bill Berry who just hated the album. Like within the band, I think pretty soon after its release, or certainly like within a few years when they had enough of a body of work, I think it was just understood that was the weakest effort REM had put out. I mean, they came out of the box with Murmur. Reckoning is a fine album. There followed Fables with Life's Rich Pageant and Document, which are both brilliant. And then they go into their kind of pop era. But I think in terms of the first 5 albums, everybody knows that every once in a while you have somebody edgelording in that music hipster sort of way who will actually tell you that Fables is a good album. It's not a good album. It was their 3rd album. They were pushing the envelope a little bit. I mean, it is theoretically kind of a little intentionally off center, if you want to say, but it's a bad album. And by the way, that did not preclude the band from turning in arguably two of their three best albums following. And that's what so I've almost wed myself to the idea that this is a lost season. It was sort of like the best player went down and we're playing for the lottery and then we'll kind of re-gear. This is the Grizzlies last season, right? This is a lost season. And as a result, I think once I conditioned myself to this reality that I didn't dislike this episode all that much. And I'll tell you, I'll even surprise you, sir. You know who I liked in this episode? I like the Fact Brothers.
Whoa!
You want to know why?
Okay.
In some ways, I feel like this is the show acknowledging that once again it's a dramatic television show. The Fact Brothers, like the Fact Brothers, to me are a supporting character, and let's use, if we're using another metaphor, we're gonna go from REM to Boris Diaw here, right? Okay, so I think it's, you know as well as anyone, Tom. I mean, you study this stuff really clinically. Basketball players are basketball players, and really the success of a team is predicated on how do they know how to use their supporting players. Do you put your supporting players in a role to succeed? When the Fact Brothers are standalone comics doing stuff and having conversations that have absolutely nothing to do with the main through line of the series, they're insufferable. However, if you want to use the Fact Brothers, if you want to indulge in that machine gun rhythm dialogue of their banter or the esoteric humor, you do it in service of a major character. Now, I really love their role, self-appointed role of trying to broker an apology from Carmy to Claire, or kind of be the peace brokers here. I love the line, he likes you more than he likes himself.
Low bar, by the way.
It was like a lovely appeal. Like if you're trying, if you were trying to make the sale to Claire that she should be receptive to this guy, provided he does himself make an effort to apologize or make amends. I mean, it's kind of a beautiful line. And I think, anybody who harbors a trace of self-loathing kind of understands that in the context of romance. So I kind of, I thought I liked the Ricky Jay opening. Again, it picks up from the theme that they explore in the beginning of 307, not the beginning of 307. What is it? The Legerdemain, sleight of hand. And Ricky Jay was the ultimate master. You might remember Ricky Jay from Deadwood, where he played Eddie Sawyer, the guy who runs the craps table at Cy Tolliver's joint. You might remember him House of Games, David Mamet's feature film from 1985. You might also, he wrote, actually, Tom, do I have an old New Yorker archive article for you? I present to you what was probably a 10,000-word long-form feature on the history of loaded dice.
Oh.
Written by Ricky Jay, probably about 25 years ago. I feel like I was pretty new to Los Angeles. So this must have been literally 25 years ago he wrote this piece. But I remember being in my 20s and reading it and just absolutely loving it. It's a history of the Romans were a bunch of gambling addicts and loaded dice that are kind of corrupted to elicit a specific role. So he did a wonderful. So Ricky Jay is regarded, and he died a couple of years ago, I believe, one of the great magicians, sleight of hand guys, and really kind of it was sort of the thinking person's magician, if you will, like the kind of guy who writes New Yorker articles, right? And so I love this opening montage. And again, for a show that's taking liberties and sort of buying into its own prestige, if you're going to do that, I like you doing it this way. Now, I want to put to you, though, Tom.
Yeah.
What do you think? Sleight of hand, right? Like this is a theme that clearly we have Marcus going through the books, asking what that means. That we do the opening sort of teaser, if you even will, whatever that montage was. What do you think? Why is sleight of hand, in your opinion, the theme that the show is working with right now?
Well, it's kind of what Tom Colicchio talked about with the duck metaphor of everything's calm at the top, but the legs are flying underneath the water. Is that kind of running a restaurant is masking the chaos in the back and presenting fine dining, or like Buddha Lo, when they ask him to present, kind of this magical surprise prank dish that you cut into the dish and it looks like this, and then it actually is that. There's a lot of metaphor that I think and symbolism in that sleight of hand is that a lot of the human condition is presenting one thing, and underneath that skin is torment. Every time that someone asks, "Are you good?" they all say, "Yeah, I'm good." And then really what they want to say is, no, I'm losing it. We had that moment in the kitchen where Sydney asks the Natalie question to Carmi. It says, "You good?" And he's like, "I'm going to crack it. I'm going to crack it. Don't worry."
Yeah, I love that.
She's like, "That's not what I'm talking about."
I'm not talking about the plate, she says, right? I'm not talking about the plate.
Which I think is a callback to maybe the second episode, but the first episode that we're in the kitchen. Or maybe it was the first episode when she says, "I think you should call." And he said, "You think I should call Claire?" "Yeah, I think I'll call Claire." And she's like, "That's not who I'm talking about." And he's like, "Oh." So it's kind of a callback to that where she says something, he thinks it's another, and it's playing into that whole sleight of hand magic where there's kind of this deceit factor where you're kind of covering up for a lot of the anxiety bubbling up underneath. And that's what Sydney is doing. That's what Cicero is doing when he's asking about golf clubs or, hey, why are you spraying that? And he really wants to say, I'm broke and I can't come up with the money that you need, so we're kind of screwed. He kind of masks it, right? He says, Kevin, look, if this review is bad, it's over. And it's almost like Cicero is rooting for the review to be bad so he gets let off the hook. And it seems like everybody in this episode is kind of covering for themselves and trying to mask the bad news underneath. And like, for example, we have so much procrastination. We've got Carmi and Claire. He's procrastinating. We've got Richie and the RSVP. He's procrastinating. You got Sydney with the job offer. She can't break the news to Carmi. She's procrastinating. Carmi won't call his mom or won't call Natalie about the baby. We don't really know that he hasn't talked to the baby. He hasn't talked to his mom about the baby. So it's all these people who are disguising and pretending that things are good when they're not good. And so that's what I think that means.
I mean, there are a couple of notes, and we're going to have a more abbreviated recap because we have a fun conversation coming up shortly. But this episode did remind me that I really miss Oliver Platt, right? Like I like his meditations on life's contradictions and his studies of carbon-14 atoms.
That's a real thing. The Day Tomorrow Began is a real exhibit in Chicago.
Yeah. So I'd reminded him, if anything, this did reinforce, again, even with the calibrated expectations, that I feel like we've missed a lot this season. That the show has a lot of strengths and they didn't utilize them very often. It's not to say you need a protracted Oliver Platt monologue every single episode, because then I think it'd be less special. But, I mean, have we had anything as good as his Chicago Cubs monologue this season? I would ask you. And I think the answer is definitively no, right? Have we had anything as good as the monologue outside of the restaurant in Forks, where I forget the character's name, but kind of explains that it's the fucking Super Bowl every day, right? And just what goes into that, right? Have we had, and I miss Oliver Platt, and what we also got, however, was another montage that contrasts kind of what I call it's the Carmi waiting on Wagyu. Can we just introduce waiting on Wagyu to be just something you say no matter what? Like if I'm at the urologist's office and it's like been 45 minutes and I was supposed to have my appointment and I'm still in the waiting room, just like I can belt out waiting on Wagyu and it would be a totally acceptable protest. But it was interesting kind of contrasting Carmi's lack of grace with the grace of his mentors, Daniel Boulud, we could get again, Chef Terry. And again, I appreciate it as a mood setter. We've seen this. And we've seen it repeatedly.
Yeah, that's how I felt.
And I think if somebody was defending the show and its writers, they would say, hey, Tom and Kevin, that's what memory is. It's recursive. Like, you come back, you play the same moments in your mind. Like, if you're doing a truly honest depiction of consciousness and the mind of an erotic person or the mind of somebody who is spiraling the way Carmi is spiraling, who himself probably has serious mental health issues, it does return to the same exact reference points. That's what we do. We are humans. Yeah, you've seen it before, because guess what? Your consciousness is terribly repetitive. That's what being literally, I'm in a vicious cycle means, or, and so I get that. But again, I just, even the Sydney Carmi dynamic, I feel like is a slight adjustment of the same scenes we've seen. So I probably like this episode again more than you did, but I think it's in the context of kind of just calibrating. Now, one question I have for you, Tom, and maybe it's a question for our next guest. And it's not, I mean, I'm willing to suspend disbelief for this. Do we think that in 2024, the daily paper's review is the make or break thing? Do you think that let's assume it's the Chicago Tribune. I mean, you could say it's the Sun-Times. Let's say it's the Trib, right? It's the sort of the flagship paper, the number one paper in town. Do we think that a good or bad review one way or the other in this day and age, I'm sure it was true. And I'm sure like a Pete Wells hit job can totally sink a restaurant. But do we believe that in this day and age, that review, as much as it might, look, I'm not denying that Carmy and the chefs don't all want to see affirmation and don't want to see opprobrium. But like, do we actually think it is that much of a factor in this day and age?
This is going to be a great question. Chef Eric Adjepong is going to join us in a few moments here. I would love to put it to him.
Yeah.
Let's say he's opening up a restaurant. What is the power rankings of things that you need to be successful in terms of review? Is it like word of mouth? Is that the most powerful driver of revenue or success, whatever you want to call it? Is just like people talking about your restaurant, word of mouth, not irrespective of what you read in the papers or on some reviews. Is it media, like those media food critics? Whether it's digital or if it's newspaper. Is it Yelp? How much of a Yelp score?
This is what I would ask Eric, and maybe I will ask Eric. I'll prep it on you.
Yeah.
Whether you're in New York and it's the New York Times or Washington or the Washington Post, let's say you're opening a restaurant. Would you rather have A, a sterling review from the paper, or B, Kamala Harris and Doug sit down for a table of two
right.
in the next month, during the first month of your restaurant? Like, which would, and his Instagram in it. Nah. I mean, I gotta believe in this day and age, it ain't about the Washington Post or the New York Times or the LA Times or the Chicago Tribune. You will take a very prominent and visible and microscoped celebrity enjoying and visually chronicling their account at your restaurant. I gotta believe that's worth more.
Great question. That's a great way to frame it. And I don't know if that question changes next year or in 2025, or if 3 years ago. Like, I think this is set in 2021, right? Because they make references to COVID a lot.
No, I think it's 2023.
You think it's 23?
She made a reference, hey, the kids have been screwed up, which I think is still, I mean, you have kids, I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I don't think that's gone away.
May says it's 2023.
Yeah, I think so too.
My thinking is if this is kind of set in real time, like set in real events, but just in a fictionalized world, so to speak. So Cicero got caught up in the shorts. He can't cover his shorts, which means he shorted some stock. He bet that a company was going to do poorly, and the stock went up, and so he's losing his shirt in this in the stock market. Maybe this is GameStop. That happened a few years ago, where a bunch of the GameStop AMC short squeeze, where a bunch of investors.
Well, I mean, I'll just tell you, the NASDAQ from March 2023 to August 2023 jumped.
Yeah.
I mean, by my estimation here, about 25%. So it was a massive summer.
If you're shorting some stock.
If you were short the market in the summer of 2023, you were fucked.
Okay, two things. Question. For a moment, when you watched this episode, did you think you had pulled up the correct episode on Hulu? Because I was confused. I was like, wait, is this the bear? Did I click on the wrong thing? Is this an ad?
You talking about the Ricky Jay opening?
Yes, the Ricky Jay opening. I had a couple, not minutes, I would say, but I was definitely like, wait. Is this the bear?
No, I mean, I think the show, for better and worse, and we've documented plenty of the worse, and we've documented the better too, right? I mean,
yeah.
This show is not coloring inside the lines at all.
Yes.
Possibly even to a fault, right? So I have, hey, give the show this. It has earned at this point, at least from my perception, that they can do anything they want, right? Bottle episodes, wherever, montages, no dialogue. You can use the same songs over and over. You can do all kinds of stuff, right? Like you can essentially abandon the primary, interior, and storyline, right? Like so. The truth is, it was a nice surprise. And again, since they are doing that anyway, I mean, they're making an exhibition out of not coloring inside the lines. You might as well do something like that. And I thoroughly enjoy. I'm also a Ricky Jay fan.
Yeah.
And I'm not even a Magic guy. Like, I just have always loved him. I loved him in Spanish Prisoner. I mean, House of Games is one of my favorite, and Deadwood, as you know, is a top 3 show for me.
Well, you must have really loved the mashup of Nine Inch Nails and REM there, where they're playing the overlay.
Yes, I have that as a note to ask you about that, right? Like, kind of from mood to expression, Like, it is the show, I think we're going to probably, I wonder if the season, I'm almost at the point where we can almost do a postmortem. I think.
Yeah, the finale's there. Yeah.
I wonder if we will look back on season 3. Is this like season 2 of The Wire where, hey, in retrospect, it pulled us away from the storylines we cared about. It sidelined some major characters. But I think when we look back on it now, 20 years later, like, that was an achievement in itself. I don't think anybody runs back to rewatch season 2. I mean, maybe some people do, and I think you can make a case for it. But at the end of the day, I am wondering if this is sort of, again, this is the Pinkerton Fables of the Reconstruction, season 2, The Wire, that sort of, that artsy turn, very flawed artsy turn that a good overall production does, that, hey, it is what it is, but it's not your favorite, but it does have some redeeming value. It's just not what you wanted at that moment.
Yes. And once you reset your expectations like you did, you recalibrated your expectations, where I think I was still hungry for some progression in the storyline. Derek Thompson, who does some of my favorite work.
Love that podcast.
It's Plain English on the Ringer. He joined Bill Simmons' pod this week, and they talked about the future of everything. And they went through different genres and departments or institutions of public American life, and try to predict where we're going to be in a year. And one of the things he said was that every show, Derek Thompson's theory was that every show is too fucking long. A 6-episode series is now 8 episodes. The Bear, 10 episodes could have been 6. Or he just feels like every series needs some editing. And that I think maybe we've gone too far on the pendulum. I'm sure we could go an hour talking about whether content is just too long these days in every direction. But I do feel that way about The Bear this season. I do feel like this season, while I've enjoyed certain episodes, I do feel like there's a lot of fat on the bone. And this episode was in that category for me. But if I did rewatch this one and enjoyed it more, especially because in the Cicero conversation, yeah, Maze is saying we could go an hour talking about how things are too long. Touche. The Cicero conversation with Carmy, I enjoyed much better now that I've watched the episode and know that he was, for the entire time that he's talking to Carmy, he wants to say, hey man, I got to break some bad news here, is that just ran out of money and I'm not going to be able to fund the restaurant anymore. It adds a dynamic to the viewing, and I appreciate it a lot more now that I know where it ended. So to that point, Kevin, I don't know if we want predictions in this episode finale, but we'll leave that for maybe the next episode here in the future. We'll just kind of leave it there. We kind of feel like we already have done the season recap, like you said, that we could do a postmortem right now, even before the finale, which seems crazy on any series show on a season. But we have a special guest coming up.
Listener, listen up. This is important, okay? I'm going to try to save you some money here. If you're still overpaying for wireless, it's time to say yes to saying no. At Mint Mobile, their favorite word is no. You may think like, oh, that's bad. No contracts, no monthly bills, no overages, no hidden fees, no BS. Here's why I said yes to making the switch and getting premium wireless for $15 a month. You heard that correctly. $15 per month. Ditch overpriced wireless and the jaw-dropping monthly bills. And of course, there are all these hidden fees and stuff, but at Mint Mobile, plans start at $15 per month. All the plans come with high-speed data, unlimited talk and text. You're not doing like weekend and nighttime minutes or anything like that. And it's delivered on the nation's largest 5G network. Use your own phone. Don't have to get a new phone. Use your own phone with any Mint Mobile plan and bring your phone number along with all of your existing contacts. I switched months ago. People have asked, did you actually switch? Yes, I actually switched months ago. And I don't know what to do with all this extra money. I've cheated the system here. I've rigged something. This is an Ocean's 11 situation where I'm stealing wireless from Mint. That's how good a deal it is. Ready to say yes to saying no? Make the switch at mintmobile.com/dings. That's DINGS. That's mintmobile.com/dings. Upfront payment of $45 required, equivalent to $15 per month. Limited time new customer offer for first 3 months only. Speeds may slow above 35 gigabytes on unlimited plan. Taxes and fees extra. See Mint Mobile for details.
Hello, listener. It's Producer Maze here to talk to you about Quince and their cookware. Cooler nights mean cozy meals at home, and Quince's cookware has made fall cooking so much more enjoyable. Their pieces deliver the quality and performance of luxury brands, but at a price that makes sense. And they look gorgeous on the stovetop, too. No matter what item you need to complete your kitchen, Quince has you covered. With 5-ply stainless steel pots and pans, nonstick skillets, chef-quality knives, and even ceramic bakeware, which is perfect for cozy casseroles or Sunday roasts. And when you look at these prices, you might think, how is Quince doing this? How do they deliver high-quality items similar to high-end brands that are half the price? Well, let me tell you, they partner directly with ethical top-tier factories to cut out the middlemen and pass the savings on to you. And it's not just cookware. I got myself some bath sheets. That's right. When you're a tall man, you have to use bath sheets, not bath towels from Quince. It's like drying off with the cloud. It's incredible. Upgrade your kitchen for cozy fall meals with premium cookware from Quince. Go to quince.com/dings for free shipping on your order and 365-day returns. That's QUINCE.com/dings, DINGS, to get free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/dings. Hello, listener. It's Producer Maze here to talk to you about Kindred. Now, close your eyes like Owen Wilson during a job interview and imagine a way to travel that feels personal, comfortable, and connected without the price tags and the sterile feelings of hotels or short-term rentals. Now open your eyes and stop using your imagination because Kindred has made it very real. That's exactly what they do. Kindred is a members-only home swapping network. It's not a hotel. It's not a short-term rental. It's a smarter way to travel where each stay feels like home. Here's how it works. With Kindred, your home is your ticket. You earn credits by hosting fellow Kindred members, and then you use those credits to stay in over 220,000 homes in more than 100 cities worldwide. There are no hotel costs or rental fees, just the credits that you've earned. Every stay comes with white glove service, 24/7 trip support, and $100,000 in host protection. Make it easier for you to travel and enjoy yourself and not worry about details. I've used Kindred and I found an amazing home for a weekend getaway in an idyllic location with amazing views and great ambiance. It had everything I needed. And the best part was, it cost me $0. So apply now at livekindred.com and use code DINGS to join for free. Plus, you'll earn 5 nights of travel credit just for signing up. That's right, that's 5 whole nights for free at livekindred, KINDRED.com, code DINGS, DINGS, livekindred.com, code DINGS.
All right, our next guest here, I promised before the season, when we do a review of The Bear, we are going to have some Top Chef former contestants, Top Chef alumni, some chef testants onto the show to help us review The Bear. We have fulfilled that promise with our upcoming guest here, Chef Eric Adjepong from season Kentucky, a finalist from season, was at 16 Top Chef. Eric, we were just in New York. Last week, we had a wonderful meal at Have and Mar, which is Marcus Samuelson's restaurant. You picked the spot, and you picked a wonderful place to eat. You got to we got to talk some Knicks, but we kind of touched on this. Is like, hey, we want to talk to you about The Bear, and you were like, let's do it. But just a heads up, I'm having trouble with getting through season 3. So welcome to the show, and great to see you and great to have a meal with you. And Kevin and I have lots of questions for you.
You know what, man? It was such a blast hanging out last week. It was last week, with you at Have and Mar, and really good time. Kev, man, so good to see you and hear from you as well. That iconic voice. Tom's always a pleasure. Yeah, ready to go.
It's great. Thanks for stopping in. This is fantastic.
Of course.
How are things going in general? Like, what is going on in your chef life, in your regular life, anything?
Yeah, the world is spinning almost faster and faster. It seems like every year. I just got off the heels of a great product launch with Crate and Barrel this year, which was absolutely amazing. We were sold nationwide, pretty much sold out nationwide and online. So almost like a 3.5 year project kind of coming to an end, which is absolutely insane. Just to kind of see all of the attention and fanfare and just so glad that it's been received, as well as, as much energy we put in, behind it. So that's been a relief. Shooting season 2 of Wildcard Kitchen in a few weeks, which is exciting as well. Second show hosting on Food Network, which is absolutely insane because I did not come into this thinking that I'd be hosting anything. And really just enjoying my time as a chef, man, traveling and meeting good people. Again, what Tom mentioned, man, we were able to stop and get a grab a bite to eat in New York. And that's always chilled, man. You met a couple of my chef buddies out there as well. So it's always kind of like a revolving door. But it's weird because it's, I say this now, but then also I feel like there's kind of like this ominous kind of like dark wind that's happening in the chef industry with a lot of like passings, a lot of mortality, people kind of really realizing, we hold these great titles, but we're also humans as well. And health and wealth and mental health is a huge deal in the industry as well. Still continues to be. So just thankful for it all. Thankful for the current friends that I have and the ones that I'll make in the future.
Yeah, Eric, we had a great time. You're doing wonderful work on TV in a way that I think you experiencing what it's like to work on not just a reality TV show with Top Chef, but also being a host. You've seen it all, man. Like you went from a chef to a TV personality, like overnight, it seems. And now we're going to talk to you about The Bear, but just in general, what is the biggest thing you've learned about being behind the camera as much as you have on a food culinary TV show that you have a newfound appreciation for? I
think I can preach a little bit to the choir with you two. It's truly a production. And I had no idea when you're hosting or when you're just the cog in the machine of actual production that's, being broadcasted to national television pretty much. You get to see all the ants at work, really. There's a culinary team, there's an art department team, there's an audio visual. And, I think before even doing Top Chef, I kind of knew a little bit of it, but I'll be completely, frank to my ignorance. I truly had no idea how like massive it takes an undertaking it is to just produce one episode. So being a host and kind of seeing that forefront, man, I have a huge appreciation just for all the intricacies and again, the things that make one thing move and that domino effect. Really, it truly is a production. So I have a huge appreciation for that and just the people behind the scenes a little bit more.
What's the hardest thing for you in terms of television? What surprised you?
You know what? Day one, when I did Alex versus America, in my head, I had the earwig, but like in my head, I'm saying you guys made an absolutely terrible mistake. Like you guys have no idea what you're talking about right now. I was like, why me? To be honest, it's just really picking up your own voice and in your own rhythm. I think having a script written by someone else, but then wanting it to really just sound like me and coming from my voice, that to me was the biggest challenge. But I think after, 2 or 3 episodes under my belt, started picking up a rhythm and started kind of like, all right, this is my domain. I think I can like not be so stringent to this script and kind of let loose a little bit, bring some color into everything. And I think once I started doing that, and then also like the production team and the directors allow me to kind of like get that freedom to really just be myself, that's when I think the magic really started happening for me. And it became less of like muscle memory and more just kind of talking with authority because I know food. I love these chefs. And I can speak with it a little bit with more heart. And I think when I started kind of bridging that gap, that's when the hosting chops really started soaring.
One question I always have for professional chefs like you. So you're spending much of your time not cooking, right? Like you're going to go out and shoot another season of this. So pro ballers, right? The hoopers have to get in the gym. They have to get their reps in. Do you feel like, are you the kind of chef where, hey man, I haven't been in the kitchen in 2 weeks. Like what does a professional chef at your age with your pedigree, like what do you have to do to what you feel is maintaining your level of skill? Like, do you feel like, hey, like what would happen to you if you didn't like go into a kitchen for a year? Would it be like, I'm rusty? Like how, like my jump shot needs refashioning? Like what do you need to do to maintain like chef quality cuisine?
Totally. I think honing skill.
Or do you always have it?
No, I think it's always there. The skill set is always there. The fundamentals are always there. Staying sharp it's really about honing that skill, right? And whether you're in a familiar setting or somewhat a little bit different, whereas I'm doing like food and wine, festivals throughout the season, some in South Carolina, Miami, New York, and you're forced to work with a different kitchen, different staff, and you're kind of like retraining that muscle all over again. But no, to your point, it is a little bit a fish out of water. I feel like I have two left feet when it comes to anything outside of the kitchen. That's like where I am, just like my domain, and I can be 100% myself. So when I'm not in there, it is a little bit of a fish out of water. But I'd be crazy to think that I wasn't like all of that skill set and all of the hard hours and the labor that it took to even get from prep to commis and garde manger and line cook and all that. I wouldn't be as sharp and as strong as a host right now if it wasn't for all that prior work. And I think it kind of goes hand in hand. So for me, to be honest, Kay, man, I gotta be in the kitchen, every month, just to stay sharp, just to stay on top of things, but then also pick up the energy from other chefs and really, and get a feel from other people as well. That's super important.
Kevin, he played basketball and football and was a track star in high school. So like all of our sports metaphors, like Eric gets all of it. And so I kind of imagine that like getting some shots up in a gym is one thing, but actually being on a team and playing some pickup, that's where the magic happens. That's where you feel all of the feels in the same way that Eric, it's weird. We're watching The Bear to make this transition as seamless as possible. We're like, we want to get back into the kitchen. We want to get into the kitchen and see how this Bear restaurant, the fine dining restaurant that Carmi's putting together, how it goes. And so much of the show in season 3, we're up to episode 9, is really not about the kitchen. And I recognize that as Kevin and I are kind of amateurs, we're fans of cooking. We're not professional chefs. We want to get in the kitchen. But does someone like you, Eric, who is living in the kitchen and maybe has aspirations to open up The Bear one day, your own version of The Bear, what is the viewing experience like for you?
It's visceral in a way that it kind of cuts straight to the core for me. It does. The show is so impeccably done well. Outside of like the theme being within the kitchen and all the lives that kind of happen from that setting, I think the storytelling, the drama, the written comedy, all of it is just really good TV, regardless of what the topic is. But when you kind of like throw in the culinary and the restaurant ownership and the relationships that kind of spawn from that, to me and a person who lives that life and has lived that life pretty much my entire career, it hits home in so many different ways that it's just like, it's kind of putting up a mirror in front of you, so to speak, because I truly see myself in all of these characters' lives, and Marcus and Sid and Carmi and Reggie. Like I see myself at least at one point in my career and everyone's life, either through kind of like happenstance or through similar, extremely eerie situations through death. And relationships not working out and things kind of blowing up in your face, quite literally and figuratively. Like these things are actually happening in the kitchen and ways that you not only have to like, no pun intended, bear with it, but you also have to kind of like adapt and almost act as if it doesn't matter, because once 5:30 starts, like the guests come in, they don't care. You know what I mean? And truly that like ultimate reset of your guests coming in and wanting the best and wanting that like high quality and level of service and expertise to the food kind of gives you like that humble reset, regardless of what's happening in your day and what's happening in your life, as we can obviously see in, the threads in every one of these characters. Man, the service matters the most. And like all of that just is silenced and quiet. And, from 5:30 to close, it's really just about putting out the best food. And that to me, I can relate to 1000%.
A lot of chefs have said, I think Tom's had these conversations where they can't watch because it's almost traumatizing. It almost triggers a PTSD. Have you experienced any of that?
So many ways. I think season two really hit me with like, season 2 leading into 3, I think the death of Marcus's mom, that was pretty big. I myself was going through similar situation with a parent, and having the camaraderie and almost like the galvanizing effect of the industry kind of like wrap you and hug you and really embrace you. That to me is truly probably the most like visceral, close reaction that I've gotten, because for me, my stepfather passed away last year, but literally at the same time, I was asked to host the James Beard Awards, and like that kind of high low of like one of the greatest moments in your life, but then also one of the lowest moments in your life happening at the same time. I truly was like enamored and happy and just elated to be there and have this amazing honor. But the folks who knew me really knew what was going on and can kind of see through a little bit of that, the chink, so to speak, in the armor. And that to me cut, because that one episode where Marcus comes back and literally everyone's kind of arguing, there's chaos ensuing, and then he walks in and everyone just dies it down, and they're all like on his level. They're all on his time. They're all pretty much for him. And he has that really sweet moment with Carmi as well. I thought that was awesome about him experiencing something very similar, understanding that you need space, but I'm available for you, as much as you need. Like that to me is what the industry is all about. When you're essentially working with folks, and you see them probably more than you see your family, you know what I mean? You get to know these people, you get to know their plight, what makes them tick, and all the emotions that kind of are wrapped up around that. So I totally saw myself in that. But then the maniacalness and just that wanting to be like the best of the best of the best, Carmi puts that out there like nobody's business. And I think character-wise, that's probably, maybe this is a biased kind of thought, but like I've never felt so connected to that, like, maybe Whiplash. We talked about this movie, actually. Yeah. Whiplash was probably another movie that you just are so like maniacal about this one thing and just being perfect. Like I can relate to that so much. And this is probably one of the reasons why that movie is one of my favorites as well. I relate to that character, whether it's in music, passion, in culinary, or honestly, whatever. I get it. I totally get it.
Shows about craft are very cool.
Yeah.
Marcus is such an interesting character on the show because I feel like he's the romantic, and he's really the only romantic. I mean, everybody wants something. It's not that there aren't other aspirational characters, but I feel like he is the one guy who is going in. I mean, it's funny. Tom and I were going through kind of the iconic episodes and Forks and Fishes, the Christmas bottle episode and Forks. But like, I think back very fondly on the episode where he went to Copenhagen, right? And it's just, in some ways, he is he feels like he's the one character for whom this enterprise provides more than just creative affirmation, or in the sense of Tina, we learn it provides her dignity. There's dignity in labor. For him, it's like learning this craft will deliver him to it will open up a universe that has previously been unseen to him, right?
Totally.
The way he says, and it's almost like it could be played for cheesiness if the character weren't so well drawn. When he says to Carmi, and I don't know if you saw this episode where he's like, bring us there, man. Like, basically as if it's the huddle in a 1-point game down to like last shot. Like he is so romantic and so almost delightfully unjaded about this industry, and in some ways he embodies everyone else has been scarred, everybody else has been yelled at, everybody else has just been, hey, they're still in it because for whatever reason, but he's the one guy who's still the one person in the entire show who just still embodies the hope and belief that just getting good at this, achieving at this will just be a more spiritual existence.
His wanderlust is truly the kind of like the genesis for, I think, how a lot of chefs feel. And regardless of what road you take, whether you continue to be completely enamored about the industry and every day is a new kind of like, wanderlust day to you, or you're kind of jaded and, you're just there for the check. Like, I think at all points, we all started with that super just excitement and kind of like jovialness, that kind of kid nature about the industry and all the things that are possible, which I think is so smart about his character being in pastry and kind of being by himself in the corner, because truly those are the Willy Wonkas of the kitchen, truly, like the ones that really make the craziest ideas is. They challenge the savory chefs. That cannoli that he did is absolutely just insane, right? Like that's where the fun happens to me, at least in the restaurants. Like, you know, that last bite of the last savory dish that you had, and you know you coming to dessert, and like the fun that you're gonna, you know, walk into and all that. I think Marcus embodies that wholeheartedly, and really what a lot of chefs in the beginning, that kind of fever and that vigor for the industry, and just really learning what dextrose and xanthan gum is all about, and how you can put it in your arsenal. Like that's awesome. That's awesome.
Eric, I was just thinking about this and in terms of Marcus, and you don't want to kill that wanderlust with kind of a tyrant in the locker room. You know what I'm saying? And we've talked about this on this show this year, and not to give any spoilers away, but Kevin and I have made the metaphor, at least I have, that Carmy has a little Tom Thibodeau in him, and you are a diehard Knicks fan. And I'm wondering, do you need a Tom Thibodeau in the locker room to get the best out of some chefs? Or do you want someone who's a little softer, like Chef Tracy, who's a little bit more gentle with her very strong direction, but just with a softer hand? What does Chef Eric want if he's the executive chef, or if he's the sous chef? Who does he want? Does he want a Tom Thibodeau or more a Steve Kerr type?
That is hilarious. You know, on several fronts, probably the funniest because of timing. This conversation comes up as I had this very similar conversation about personal trainers yesterday. And I told the group that I was with, I don't need like a pleasant personal trainer. I need somebody like a drill sergeant to get at me and push me to that next level. Like I don't want to plateau. I want to be pushed. And I love that about Carmy. I think there is, regardless of, style and effect in the kitchen, there's several different ways to really get to success. I think I thrive off of a chef who is very much like, all right, we're going to play all 48 minutes. We're going to go hard to the wall. We're going to get after it. Because that's where I think I thrive. And with the setup of the kitchen and the hierarchy of the kitchen, you need a general, you need someone that is authoritative, you need someone that has that like commanding voice. And sometimes to the effect, that voice is often translated and felt and really respected if it has not necessarily a mean undertone, but a serious one. And I think for me, my style of, during, let's say we start prep at 9 o'clock till 5:30, I'm clowning around. I'm practical joking. I'm, music's playing. But as soon as 5:30 hits, like it's on. It's really, really on. And we all have to have that mindset. And I think there's a healthy mix of that. You have to have a little bit of bad cop in you, with respect, obviously, and respecting everyone around you and in the industry and your position, and also respecting yourself as well. It's imperative, and I think it creates character, it creates a backbone, but it also gets a sense of urgency, which is absolutely paramount in the kitchen. Like we need to go. That's important. Every second counts, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
We were having a funny conversation before you came in when we were kind of recapping an episode. And this, they got out there early in the season, that a major drama point hanging over season 3 is the pending review that is going to appear in what I think is suggested as the Chicago Tribune. And it is a good dramatic device, obviously. But one of the questions we had is it realistic in 2024 that the daily paper's review could truly make or break a restaurant? Insofar as, yes, I know that like a total just, if Pete Wells crushes a place, yeah, it could have a real impact in New York. But like the question we were going to have for you is, let's say you were opening up a new restaurant in New York or the Washington area or wherever. If you could have your choice between an absolute beautiful love letter to your restaurant in either the New York Times or Washington Post or LA Times or whatever the paper is, or a Kamala Harris and husband dine at your restaurant, geotag it on Instagram and talk about a picture with you kind of in the thing, a little, selfie. Had a great time at Chef Eric's, blah, 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 blah. Which would do more for your business?
Ooh.
Do you think? What would you rather have for the long term?
I think the answer is better stated in what would do better for the business and what would do better for the ego. I think with the business, you always want to be reviewed and reviewed and respected by peers, even if they're not direct peers, as in chefs. They're within the industry. They have a strong understanding of your plight, and they're aware of everything. So I think of like. A Tom Siesema, right? That's in DC, who has been writing about food since longer than I probably have been living. This guy knows DC, he knows the district like the back of his hand. So when he comes to your restaurant, you want to put all kind of like your best foot forward and really make a strong impression. But then to the same regard, like the celebrity or the politician coming in and giving you a glowing review and taking the photo and everything else, it does great for the restaurant. It might do well for your Instagram as well. But I think they serve two different purposes. To the general public, I think the Kamala Harris in your example, KA, is a great thing because, she is a public figure. People know her, people recognize her. It's an immediate reaction to say that she's been someplace that I can also go and have a very similar experience, then I'm going to do it. Versus a Sietsma or, and any other critic, I think their review is for the trained palate, the folks who often go to different places and have maybe food and gastronomy and culinary arts kind of on the forefront of their brains versus, let's say, more the casual eater. So I think it serves two different purposes. But for me personally, I think getting the review and having someone that I admire their work, review me and my business, that's massive. Man, but it'll be awesome to have Kamala Harris come too. So,
Yeah,
that'd be awesome.
it's hard to choose. We see in this show the Michelin star, how that's such a driver for Sydney wants to have a Michelin star, and we hear it from Buddha Lowe, who wins 2 fucking seasons of Top Chef and then is like, I wanna get a Michelin star. Chef Eric Adjepong has worked at Michelin star restaurants. I posit to you, in that calculus of what drives a successful restaurant, is a Michelin star overrated, properly rated, or underrated?
Oh, man, it's always properly rated. You can never overrate. That's like overrating MVP. You know what I mean? Like, it's no matter how the MVP is built, whatever season, no MVP is built the same, but the title is supreme. And I think with the chef who's looking to get that Michelin star, and it's really to each his own. There's documentaries about this, the race and kind of like the eagerness to get a star. I would love one for personal reasons, but then also I think it puts you on the map with the greats. Like, whether you have 1, 2, or 3, you are cemented in a very exclusive fraternity. There's a lore to it. There's cachet to it, but then also there's respect. And I think getting that respect from your peers is truly one of the greatest kind of honors you can get, regardless if you're getting, the award, or excuse me, the great review from, the food writer in your town, or the folks on, Open Table are praising your restaurant. I think having that Michelin star for any chef who is seeking it just gives them that validation they can put in their back pocket that can never be taken away from them. And I love Sydney's kind of just quest to get there. And it's not just about the food. I think she's noticing is, there's maybe one montage, I think it's in season 2, where she's talking to folks around her area, right? Talking to different restaurateurs, different chefs. And she's really getting a feel for what it really, really takes. And she's writing down things in pre-shift. And we talk about the forks, right? That episode as well. And just the small details to get to greatness. It's not just, if you do the little things well, and this is something I was told by Derek Wagner, one of my first chefs I worked for in Providence, Rhode Island. If you do the little things well, the big things become easy. So it's taking little snips of the tape when you cut it in label, or highlighting in your menu rather than keeping things in your head. Those little intricate small details, even though they may not seem like a big deal, with Richie and the forks and the streaks, it seemed like, overplay. Those are the little things, if you can pay attention to them, can propel you to the great things like, getting the Michelin star, so forth and so on. So really, I think paying attention to the little things and have them become bigger really, really sets you up for greatness if that's your goal. But to me, that to me is one of the ultimate goals. Serving people and putting good out food is
Sure.
Yeah, that's important. That is key. Serving people is number one for me. But like a personal one, yeah, for sure. The star is good.
So glad you brought up the forks episode, because I wanted to go here next is what does the show get right? Because the tape, obviously you're like, yeah, that's fucking real. That's a real thing, or that they got that detail correctly. And the forks episode, I think, pulls back the curtain more than anything about what it takes to have a fine dining or a Michelin-starred restaurant. But I don't know what the hell I'm talking about, right? Chef, what is the thing that the bear did in the kitchen or in that episode? The mantra, every second counts, or whether it's peeling back the mushroom, whatever it is. Is there a thing that you saw that you're like, oh, wow, they really did their homework on what it's like to be in a elite kitchen like this?
Yeah, I think the attention to cleanliness and but then also the attention to building habits, and again the cutting of the tape. For me, in my kitchens, folding your towels, regardless of if you're cooking, if you're prepping, your towel should always be folded right next to your cutting board, so you're ready to wipe, you're ready to pick up something hot, you're ready to just go. You're always there. Those little things, those intricacies in the kitchen, I found so just like, you have that little smile, or smirk, because he's like, oh, they spoke to somebody, like they got it, you know what I mean? And that to me was really, really, really cool. With the forks episode, like that one scene that Richie, I forget the gentleman's name, but they go outside. He asked them to go outside and have this like just quick heart to heart, and he's like, dude, you got to cut the shit, like get with it. And I love that because it really shows, I think he struggled with alcohol or something like that in his past, but service and the regimen to service really kind of like brought him to a place where he found meaning and found a purpose. And to me, being so enthralled and just in love with the service industry, I totally related to that. I totally understood that. And that is a real thing. I know chefs who are absolutely in love with this industry and love serving, and that is truly their life's passion. And those little moments right there in the show, they absolutely got number one with the bullet. Like, it was really, really taught.
The research was crazy.
Oh my gosh. Absolutely insane.
That really happens?
Yeah, that really, really happens. Getting locked in a freezer in a walk-in really happens. Like that shit really happens, and for it to happen on, opening day, that's drama for sure. But no, stuff like that really goes down. Or
has someone been stabbed in the kitchen at one of your restaurants before?
Jesus Lord, I have had stitches galore. I've seen some nasty, nasty cuts, nasty stabs. I've caught myself a couple of times. So that's real. I remember one time, Mark Forgione, I ended up getting the job, but fuck, was I nervous, man. I walk in, it's a stage. And, the first 2 hours I'm doing my thing, I'm up to task. I'm hitting all my, all the things that they're asking me to do. And then I think they put me on like fennel prep, and I'm, cutting fennel, slicing it through, and I sliced my hand on the mandolin, and I'm just like leaking blood. And my first thought is like, hide it. Not like tell everybody, but just hide it, because it's like, you're embarrassed. This is something, these are obviously occupational hazards. When you work in the kitchen, you're going to get cut. They come with the territory, but like, it's the timing of it all that happens. That's like the worst. Like, Carmi, being locked in the walk-in on opening day, or me literally trying to like go out for a job and interview for a job, and I'm cutting myself like like an amateur. It's one of those things that's just like Murphy's Law in full effect in the kitchen, and that shit really goes down. It's funny enough. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
One of the bones of the contention early in the third season is that Carmi wants to change the menu every night. So 2 questions. One is we'd love to hear from your chefs, like explain just what the sheer scope of that decision. But two, do you admire the audacity? Do you resent the hubris? Is this guy a genius, a psycho? Do you like what? Can you just put for the layperson just what that means, what he's decided to do, and how crazy or not crazy it is?
My goodness, that's like, you're prepping to call a game, and you have all 10 players and their bios, their stats for the past week, and then next thing you know, both coaches call a complete sub for all 5 players, and you got to just start research all over again, and in the matter of seconds. It's one of those like crazy ambitious things, Kevin, to kind of go backwards and answer the question. It's a little bit of everything. It's he's a psychopath, he's a genius, and he's super ambitious at the same time. I think it's a brilliant kind of like pull to do that for the show. I think it really pulls you into Carmi's mind and how great he thinks he can be for himself. And it's an almost impossible feat, but if done well, it's probably the most impressive feat in any kitchen, right? Like to change a menu every single day. That's absolutely insane. It's absolutely insane. But, one thing that I really admired, I think they did a quick little thing about it in the episode where it was one day it was duck with like an orange marmalade, and the next day it was like a cherry. You know what I mean? So the process is pretty much the same. You're rendering the duck, you're slicing it to service, you're pairing it with a different jus or sauce that still works. You know what I mean? It still could be seasonal. It still could be, really, really delicious. But you're changing something, and you're not sticking to like the everyday. The mundane is not mundane every note, because you're literally switching things every 24 hours. So like that, I think is absolutely brilliant. It shows that he believes in himself, maybe a little bit too much. Maybe it might be a little too self-centered. We'll find out. But I think the belief in his crew as well is something as crazy and unorthodox they can be. Like he really believes that they can do this for themselves. And I think that's admirable. If I had a leader like that, I'd probably think he's crazy, but I'd follow and I'll go hard for him for sure.
What about this question here? Be honest. How far through season 3 have you gotten, and why?
I'm in episode 4, season 3. I'm a slow burner for me and the Bear. I think it's one of those shows that deserves all of my respect and attention. Like I can't be scrolling online or checking emails or anything like that. Like I've got to be locked in. And so in and of itself, that takes time to just like clear out 45 minutes to an hour just to kind of like be stationary and watch a show. So I try to catch it like when I'm up in the air or, in travel and transit. But it's tough. It's tougher for me because again, I got to digest it. I got to like, it's one of those things that sits with me. And, it's funny because I'm in a very similar situation right now. Building and getting people together for a project. And like, as I'm watching it, I'm going through the same, for instances and it's a lot. It is a lot, especially on the relationship side of things too. Like the one thing that I think the show does very, very well is talk about how difficult it is to maintain common everyday relationships when you're so locked into a restaurant with time and energy and physical time as well. It's hard to develop. It's hard to keep going the stuff that you already have developed with, parents and kids and stuff like that. But if you're looking to do anything new and a new romance or a new friendship is coming along in your life, that shit's difficult to maintain. So it's all there, man. I think the show does a great job of kind of like depicting all different aspects of a chef's life. Yeah.
Do chefs talk about it?
I do. With a bunch of people. And I think I talked to a lot of chefs from Chicago, funny enough, about the show, and they love it. Like they're all in, they support it. Great pop-ups that come, up and down the loop with, that are bear related and stuff like that, which is awesome.
Oh, I didn't even know that was a thing.
Yeah, there's a couple pop-ups here and there in Chicago. Jonathan Sawyer did a bear-like pop-up with his sandwich shop, which I thought was really cool over the summer as well. So chefs like Sawyer, chefs like Izard, Sasto and Flam, those guys, I'll speak to, and they're like, man, they talk like us. They're walking like us. You know what I mean? Like these situations are things that actually happen in Chicago. And I think when you're from there, you see the kind of like the B-roll shots of the city, the train, people walking like that really captures the city as much as possible. And I really, really admire that. But yeah, chefs talk about the show quite often. I know people who are both sides of the fence who watch it and are so like involved, and people who can't literally just sit down and bring themselves to watch it because it's so visceral. Yeah.
What's next for you?
Whew, sleep.
Outside of that you're taping a new season, but outside of the pending production in TV, what's your white whale right now? Like, what is your sort of if the stars align and things
besides writing a book, besides opening up a Crate and Barrel line,
exactly, as if you're not already knocking things out one at a time. Every time I look up, you've got a new book or a new enterprise or a new show. So not a suggestion that you're lacking for things, but that suggests to me that you're a guy who likes to have aspirations.
Totally. I'm extremely ambitious with a lot of lofty goals in mind. Some, that I've been able to get out this year, which has been awesome. But that white whale is still having that brick and mortar, that bare moment for myself. This is something I've wanted since I was 8 or 9, years old. And whenever I kind of locked in on this being my actual career and being a chef, and thank God it happened so young for me, immediately the thought of having my own restaurant was, top of mind for me. So, in my 37th year, I'll be 37 next week. That's still like very much a feeling that's swelling up in my chest, and super excited to get that going. So yeah, I'm working on a project. More info about that will be out in the coming months, but I'm super excited to be sharing that and kind of getting that childhood dream out. But again, one of the main reasons why it's so tough to watch this show, because it's like, shit. Yeah, you got the health inspectors, you got the contractors, the project managers, and the family that's all involved. It's a lot, but it really is a once in a lifetime moment. And the fact that the show captured that so well, I thought they did an amazing job. But for me, yeah, I'm working on that one project, that restaurant, and much of the same with everything else, just kind of keeping those plates spinning. And yeah, I got an empire to build.
LeBron on the JJ Redick podcast, he talked about sacrifices and just like if you want to be the GOAT, or if you want to be at this level, you have to make a lot of personal sacrifices with family, with relationships, with so much in your life if you really do want to achieve that level. In the same way that, Whiplash is one of your favorite movies, it does seem like you have to have a level of dedication that I don't think a lot of people quite understand what goes through in opening up a restaurant. I did see, speaking of LeBron, I did see that you just did like a little video segment with Precious Achua. Kevin, I don't know if you knew this.
I did not know this.
Yeah.
Precious Achua is one of Eric's boys.
Oh, it's fantastic.
He is.
One of his buddies from back in the day. So explain that, and then a follow-up question. What NBA player, present, past, living, deceased, you want to cook for or walk into that restaurant when you brick and mortar opens up? Who would just rock you if they walked in?
Oh man.
And the answer can't be Jalen Brunson. Okay. It has to be bigger than that.
He gets keys to the city, he gets free meals. He's good. He's good where I am. Yeah, man, Precious, he's Precious is an awesome guy. He's super quiet, low key man, but he's ferocious on the court, and he eats a ton, man. That guy can house some food, man.
I mean, the man's 250 pounds.
He's a big guy.
He's 6'8", 250.
It looks like a buddy cop movie when I'm standing next to him. The height difference and disparity is hilarious as well.
And Eric's not Kevin Hart out there. Eric's a big dude. So
no, I'm 6'3", and like he literally towers over me. So it's cool though. He's from Nigeria, West African, with roots from the Bronx. Very, very similar to me. When he was leaving the Raptors and coming into New York, back to New York to play with the Knicks, his people reached out and really just wanted to connect with like-minded people, folks who kind of understand his plight and everything. And we hit it off almost immediately. And yeah, we've been able to hang out and tour New York City, eat some of the best like West African, Caribbean type foods the city has to offer. He's just a really, really cool guy. Love being around him, and yeah, hoping that the Knicks can re-sign him because we need some depth. We need some depth in the center position. And then if I could cook for anyone, geez, man, that was tough because you really took Jalen Brunson out.
No, it can't be that. It can't be.
Listen, man.
He's been with the team for a year.
It's true, but he's slowly creeping up in the Knicks Mount Rushmore of players. If he gives us a couple more seasons, man, he's going to be an instant classic in New York City.
Spree walks in. Pat Ewing.
Spreewell for sure. That's probably one of my favorite players. Spreewell. Give me Johnny Starks. Jeez. Van Gundy. I've always admired him as a coach and also as a color analyst. I love Van Gundy. So I definitely would cook for him. And then
is like Magic, Michael, LeBron. Like, do you have a person that
I was going all Knicks, but if we're gonna go outside the garden, then man, that's a tough one.
Let me ask you a question though.
Yeah.
So fame is one consideration, but don't you want to know that they're good eaters? Because by probabilities, it turns out that 10 of your most admired people, 2 of those people are like steak well done, or ooh, I don't eat that, or like, because I would imagine that we all idealize our favorite celebrity as our favorite, whether it's a player or an author or movie star, whatever. But at the end of the day, like, I don't want to eat with anybody who's just not excited,
Valid.
who basically hasn't been thinking about this meal all day.
That's a good point. You know what? I would rather cook and watch someone eat who's a happy, excited, and doesn't have too many restrictions. So I think a player like that, give me Anthony Edwards.
Like, I'll give you an example. Landry Fields, former Knick, now GM of the Atlanta Hawks, really good eater. But a lot of these guys, man, I'm telling you, it's Cheesecake Factory and friggin' Wingstop.
Nah.
Given the choice, they have all the resources in the world. They have a per diem that would completely floor you. They're taking P.F. Chang's to the room, man. Like, I'm not going to say that, look, I think you could impress anybody with your cuisine, but be prepared to be disappointed by the sheer culinary incuriosity of your average professional athlete.
Wow.
And also because they're worried about their, and I actually confronted, of all people, like Charlie Villanueva back this on the day. He's like, you don't understand, man. I can't afford to have like stomach ache in the second quarter. We have to eat boring.
Because the P.F. Chang's won't get you there.
Yeah.
The reason we all eat the same exact dish at Cheesecake Factory every road trip. Now, this was about 12 years ago. He's like, is because like you can't afford, hey, that's my off night. Oh, I'm going to go to Chef Adjepong's, Ghanaian restaurant. And it's like, yeah, like that's a risk I'm not going to incur during my one trip to Madison Square Garden right. And so it is interesting. So I just want to throw that out. I don't want to throw cold water on this exercise, but I think you should lobby the NBA for rookie orientation.
Ooh.
They have people to come in and give them lectures about like, hey, personal finance, right? And then it's like, oh, hey, here's how to behave in the locker room, sort of HR stuff, or hey, just sports science. And like, you should come in and you should go to 28 training camps and basically like, all right, I'm going to teach you how to eat during the season.
Hey, Eric, we got to let you go here, but any thoughts on Top Chef before we go? I know it's been some years since you were on the show and you've got other irons in the fire, but this is your opportunity. Floor is yours. Did you watch the most recent season, or do you have a certain, like, I can't go back there? Like, what is your relationship with Top Chef these days?
I can't go back there.
I don't know.
Yeah, there's PTSD with Top Chef. No, I love my Top Chef family. I was just with Gail not too long ago, and I stay in touch with everyone as much as possible. I think for the 20 plus seasons that Padma was the host, obviously she did a fantastic job and really set the bar for Kristen. And you know what? As much as you missed Padma this last season, it was so cool to watch Kristen kind of come into her own and really take ownership. And I don't think she was like bashful about it as well. Like she went in with full vigor and really took the bull by its horns. And I appreciated that. I mean, it's big shoes to fill, period, but it's also a really big position hosting so many chefs. But I think the fact that she's been there, she's done that, she knows what exactly these chefs are going for. A little bit of that empathy that Padma couldn't have and couldn't give was there, and she offered that, and I thought it was brilliant. So a big fan of Padma, always have been, always will be. She is an amazing ambassador for the industry, but I think Kristen is doing just as amazing for herself. And she's in orbit too. Like just watching her and everything that she has going on, it's like we have the same 24 hours. So it's really wild. And this is coming from me, who tries to get every single like squeeze of life out of the orange, so to speak. So no, I'm a big fan of Top Chef. Still will always be. It's been my number one show since I was like in college. The fact that I was even on it, season 16, it's insane. But I think about my career now, and it would definitely not be where it is if it wasn't for that moment in my life. So always grateful to Top Chef and everybody involved.
Is that the number one thing they mention you about these days when they see you in the wild, see you at a restaurant, is Top Chef, or is it?
Still. I mean, the hosting things is pretty cool and gives you your own kind of chops, but
wow, okay.
People watch Top Chef. It's the only kind of like long arcing culinary show that just so happens to be one of the best competition shows on TV, period. But the fact that they have these amazing talents and we get to know these stories and find out where people are from. And there's almost like kind of like baseball where there's like a regionality to it. Like I support this, you know what I mean? I'm a Yankees fan. I'm a Mets fan. I'm a Knicks fan. I think the same thing happens with chefs. And when they go back to their like respected cities and towns and they just become champions, right? When they get back home, I think that's so cool. And it almost has this kind of like grassroots effort as soon as you come back, just regardless of how well you did. So I love that about Top Chef and how, it really encourages the folks from, the towns in which these chefs are coming from to really champion them. And there's nothing like it. So TC will forever be, a huge part of my life. I would not be where I am without it today. And I mean, we wouldn't be getting great episodes of Pack Your Knives either. So it's a win-win.
That's great.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And likewise, we're such huge fans of everything Eric Adjepong. And so thank you for joining the show and best of luck. I mean, it's crazy. Congratulations on a season 2 of Wildcard and the fact that you're Alex versus America, being kind of a host of a show and also on the other side of the table being judges on a lot of different shows and then having to do your own show and your own book and your own Crate and Barrel line is incredible.
Yeah, man. Thank you.
Blessings going forward. Hope everything goes well. And I gotta say, best of luck with the Knicks. Mikal Bridges. That's a big acquisition there. I know you got high hopes.
Huge.
Oh yeah. Massive. I think we'll be all right. This season. So yeah, no, it was a pleasure. As always, it's been a while since we've done this, but it feels like, we haven't skipped a beat. So guys, thank you again, man. It's always good to talk to you.
Tom, always great to talk to Eric.
Yeah, that was awesome. And you know what? It was delightful to hear that the bear got it right. There's always that thing in the back of your mind, whether we are just amateurs and we're watching something that isn't real, that the attention to detail is actually a little bit off. No, what Eric is telling us is like, no, this is how it really is. And that's reaffirming. And I also think hearing those stories about what it's like to be in the kitchen and his aspirations, man, I'm rooting for Eric.
Oh, he is very rootable. For Tom Haberstroh, for producer Anthony Mays, this is Kevin Arnements, and this is Pack Your Knives.